The winch locks hard. Net's gone. The whole trawler lurches hard starboard. VHF 16 crackles. Mayday. 3 miles out right now. You have no idea yet whether that mayday is their problem or about to become yours. Your shift starts at 2:30 in the morning on a commercial trawler out of Dutch Harbor, Alaska. The skipper calls it a routine trip, standard quota, clean NOAA forecast, nothing unusual expected. But before you hit the deck, you catch the engineer quietly patching a crack in the bulkhead. The sonar flickers, massive movement right under the keel, and the skipper says absolutely nothing. The first swell hits harder than NOAA promised, and a deck cleat snaps free instantly. The net swings hard to starboard, loading the entire port rail into serious overload tension. One cable starts to sing, that high-pitched hum every Bering Sea deckhand knows and fears. A flyback hook punches through your Grunden's gear and catches your shoulder. Winch keeps running. Your crewmate grabs a bolt cutter, severs the leader, and sparks fly across the wet steel deck. The parted cable whips across deck 1 foot from boots. Then it all goes dead still. Net gone. A third of today's quota. Then the drum jerks hard downward once more. Something is pulling from below. Not the current, not the swell. Something with real weight. The crew splits, cut the net and walk away, or hold and haul whatever is down there. The skipper's voice hits the intercom hard. Ignore the shoulder, keep hauling. Fish pays the bills. One deckhand hits his limit, grabs a knife, and starts cutting the working lines to stop it. A fight breaks out on the wet deck as the trawler bucks over a steep Bering swell. The panicking deckhand slides toward the open rail. You grab his Carhartt collar and haul back. You look into his eyes and see nothing but raw fear of the Bering Sea below him. The skipper steps between the men and shuts it down cold. Tension breaks in 3 words. You cover the injured man's station at the stern drum with 0 backup standing beside you. The hydraulic system drops to emergency mode. Pressure falls and response time doubles right away. That patched bulkhead crack gives out. Cold North Pacific water starts pushing into the fish hold. The trawler lists to port. The bilge pumps are overwhelmed and losing ground against the flood. The skipper pulls out paper charts. The chart plotter froze, and a hard reboot did absolutely nothing. You drop into the flooded hold. Ice-cold bilge water, floating fish, and pure darkness around you. A steel shelving rack breaks free and slides hard across the floor, blocking the only ladder exit. You find a hydraulic jack, brace it against the rack, and crank until the exit finally clears. You blast up the ladder with the flood, soaked, breathless, but the breach is now located. The wind shifts hard without any warning, and the Bering Sea storm surges with one brutal push. Temps crash to single digits Fahrenheit. Salt spray turns to ice before it hits your jacket. Lightning hits the mast, and every piece of electronics on board cuts out for 3 full seconds. A massive shape rises from the fog ahead. Debris or ice. No time to confirm which. You sprint to the bow with a flare gun and fire to light the obstacle before impact. The hull clips it at an angle. Shutter runs every frame and throws you sideways hard. You clip your survival suit tether and take the helm manually as the autopilot drops out cold. Turning to a new heading fails. Current and wind have full control of where you're going. The skipper runs the fuel numbers. Full throttle is off the table. Tanks won't make it. New call. Dump the catch to fix the list. Thousands of dollars going over the rail. The skipper orders. Cut to the main drum. 2 tons of steel. From the mounts now. You work a cutting torch into the wind. Flame dies. You relight. Dies again. Relight again. The drum tears free and rips out deck grating, nearly taking you straight into the gap. The trawler snaps upright. The rebound wave hits port and sweeps you hard into the companionway. Out here, every Bering Sea solution creates a new problem before the last one is resolved. Something in the remaining net is pushing back against the direction of the hull, actively fighting. The crew finally sees it. A World War II-era U.S. Navy mine tangled deep inside the mesh. Everything stops. Every deckhand backs away from the stern without a single word said aloud. You are the only one moving toward it, wire cutters in hand, boat pitching 15 feet. You work inches from a corroded detonator horn while the trawler rises and drops under your boots. You cut through the mesh. The mine releases clean and drops silently into the Bering Sea. You drop to one knee on deck, completely spent. Nobody around you says one single word. The trawler rolls hard to one side. All remaining load has shifted toward a single rail. The stabilizer and the secondary drum both fail together. The trawler loses directional control. Smoke pushes out from the electrical panel room. Sharp chemical smell, nothing like diesel exhaust. You grab an O2 respirator off the hook and move through the smoke toward the panel room. The electrical panel blows. The blast throws you into the bulkhead and knocks the mask loose. You crawl through foam and smoke, navigating the passage entirely from memory of the boat's layout. You pull the suppression lever and hear nothing. The automatic halon system simply did not fire. You grab the portable CO2 extinguisher and walk straight into the flames toward the main breaker. The fire goes out, but you lose consciousness in the doorway from oxygen deprivation right there. Your crewmates drag you from the smoke by your extra tough boots. They held watching you fight. The backup circuits redistribute load across all remaining systems, and stability slowly starts returning. For the first time, all shift the crew moves in sync. Every station covered, 0 words. You rig a makeshift rudder using broken boom sections and a spare kicker motor lashed together tight. U.S. Coast Guard contact is restored on Channel 16. Your EPIRB position is confirmed and logged. The trawler moves steadily around the storm's southern edge. The list eases, slowly, but for real. Control feels restored, but every gauge on the helm console still reads in the red zone. You hand the helm to the bosun and sit. First real break in 6 brutal hours. Dawn breaks gray and flat. The trawler drifts in steam off the cooling engine exhausts. You sit on deck surrounded by twisted steel, parted lines, and scattered dead fish everywhere. The Coast Guard cutter pulls alongside. You hand over the logbook and give the damage rundown. The injured deckhand comes back topside, arm in a sling, moving steady on his own feet. The engineer steps out and puts a hand on your shoulder. No words needed between you. The final count, a third below Magnuson-Stevens quota, but just enough to clear operating costs. Structural damage runs deeper than it looked. The skipper goes quiet for a long time. You step onto the Dutch Harbor dock and your legs brace for a roll that isn't there. Hot water in the showers hits every cut and burn. Your body kept the full record. You look at your palms, permanently shaped by the drum handle you gripped all shift long. Nobody on the dock calls you a hero, just another crew back in Dutch Harbor safe. You sit at the harborside bar, order a Coke, and watch the glass shake from your hands. You're out cold at the table before the glass is half gone. Shift truly over. 18 hours. 1 storm, 1 mine. 0 casualties. That is all the logbook says about it. The real twist, the list was never the storm. The net's displaced load caused it all. The skipper knew about the cracked bulkhead and the incoming storm and cast off anyway. Commercial fishing is the most dangerous job in America by fatality rate every single year. This was not fishing in a storm, hauling a weight that was never meant to surface. Every call on the Bering Sea cost the catch safety or time, never all 3 together. You did not run the Bering Sea tonight. You negotiated with it on its own terms. The Bering Sea does not forgive overconfidence, but sometimes, just sometimes, it forgives honest mistakes. A fisherman does not catch fish. A fisherman is simply the one who comes back to dock. The shift is done. The trawler is tied up. Next trip leaves Dutch Harbor before tomorrow's sunrise. Insider Shift. Subscribe and tell us which job you want to live next.